Last night, a Jedi was murdered.
The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Jedi are being hunted.
She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
I sense this is only a small part of a larger plan. Some sort of shift to tip the scales.
It's time
To face the past. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
What are you?
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Happy Star Wars Day. They dropped a brand new Acolyte trailer for May the 4th as of me posting this video. There's a bunch of new Easter eggs. Obviously, the show is going to be dropping in June. I'll be doing episode videos for it, so be sure to subscribe to get them all. This trailer is way better than the last one that they released. There's way more information about the characters and just the vibe of what's going on during the series just in general. There were all these people that were billing the series as like Frozen meets Kill Bill because it's about these sisters. May, this character here, the titular acolyte that they speak of that's going around killing all these different Jedi characters. She's eventually trying to become one of the next Sith apprentices to whoever is the current Sith Master. Either it's going to wind up being Darth Plagueis or Darth Tenebris. I'll talk about them later in the video too, just based on the timeline of when the series is supposed to take place. But it's taking place at the tail end of the High Republic, right before Phantom Menace. The obvious Kill Bill comparison is her just going around killing all the Jedi, but the Frozen thing I think is about the tragedy of her past and the death of her sister, who is not meant to be Force sensitive. Like you see flashbacks during this with Sol Li Zhang-Jie's character recruiting her to the Jedi Academy. I think the idea is that she's Force sensitive, but her sister wasn't, so as a child she was taken to the Academy. But I think something happens in her past and the Jedi don't save her, or she blames the Jedi for the death of her sister, and then in present day, she's since joined this group of acolytes that are vying for a position to become the next Sith apprentice. So part of the idea is that all the Jedi characters you see during this, you hear them talking about someone going around mysteriously killing all these Jedi characters. It is the May character that's doing that. They haven't really said which planets they visit during the actual trailer here, besides Coruscant. But the new trailer footage starts with someone called Tassi Loa. I think that's a Jedi apprentice character, talking about how another Jedi was just mysteriously assassinated. Then she walks away from the body after killing them, taking the dagger, force pulling it from the ground. They remind you about all the other live-action series that they just did a little while ago. Speaking of Andor, because they show Andor during this, Andor Season 2 supposed to come next year. They just delayed it by a year. You can blame the strikes for that. Then we actually get some voiceover from Manny Jacinto's Kamir, smuggler character, talking about the Jedi while they show you footage of the Jedi at the Academy. We also get a little bit of new footage of Daphne Keen's Jecki Lawn character. She's the Padawan of Sol here. She's a half-Thelan human hybrid. And Manny Jacinto's Kamir character is talking about the hypocrisy of the Jedi, because the whole idea is that the Acolyte character is meant to be the protagonist of the series. So even though they're showing you the perspectives of the Jedi during this, they want you to take more of the perspective of the dark side characters. Mostly in the fact that they reject the Jedi's dogma and their view of the Force and destiny just in general. That seems like a big theme during the trailer. If you remember Han Solo's classic speech about the Force during A New Hope, about how he didn't believe in this mysterious force controlling his destiny, that's kind of the speech that the characters are giving later in the trailer. Notice how he's shading the Jedi too, talking about the Republic and their galactic dominance, how they justify it by bringing their peace to the galaxy, but he says that that's meant to be a lie. I think that goes back to one of the Sith tenets too, peace is a lie. They also show you Sol's character walking through what looks like a Jedi prison. Then we see May's character going to meet with Kamir. It just seems like she's using smugglers and people on the Outer Rim here to get whatever it is she needs. Not clear who this is that's climbing the outside of this temple here. We get more of that fight scene between Carrie-Anne Moss's Indara Jedi Master character and Amanda Stenberg's May character. There's a lot of Matrix Force Kung Fu energy going on here. Terakasi is like the closest thing we have to actually Jedi martial arts. Maybe we'll see some of that during this. To make more Matrix references, they did say Carrie-Anne Moss's Jedi Master character does more hand-to-hand combat than a lot of the other Jedi Masters or Jedi Knights. We get a new scene of Soul and Charlie Bartnett's Yord Fandar Jedi Knight character talking about Jedi being assassinated. There are a couple scenes where you actually see them jumping around in the timeline too. You can actually do a wig watch on Soul's character. In some scenes, his hair is just completely different. I think those are meant to be flashbacks, and these are meant to be him in present day. So you can kind of chart the timeline of the trailer based on what his hair looks like. I'm not sure who this Jedi character is that it looks like May's getting ready to assassinate, but this is also from the last trailer too. This seems like the group of acolytes that she joins that are trying to vie for a position to become the next Sith apprentice, because I think they're trying to maintain the rule of two, but you can have a bunch of dark side practitioners. So I think that's the idea, is that they're just dark side leaning practitioners. This one over here also looks like a Zabrak too. As Soul talks about the May character in present day, they flash back to him in the past, using his lightsaber to try and test her to see that she's force sensitive. It just seems like this is a scene of him coming to her village and finding her. And I think part of the idea here is that he asked to go after her in present day when they learned that it's her who's going around killing all these Jedi. So at least it seems like the mystery of who's killing all the Jedi doesn't stay a mystery forever, which I think is a good idea. Like, you don't want your audience to be too far ahead of the characters on the show for that long. They have a rematch in present day. We get a look at more of the High Republic era ships. The design language is much closer to the prequel design language just because of the time period we're dealing with here. There's a brand new scene with Vernesta Rowe. She's meant to be the only real big High Republic character from the novels, the comic books that they've been doing recently, that they're doing in live action. They did say that there'd be more High Republic characters from the comics that they do in Season 2, though. I don't think they were talking about Yoda when they meant that, though. I think they were talking about like brand new High Republic characters that didn't exist before they started doing High Republic. She's also a very long-lived species like Yoda's species, so she's also alive much earlier in the High Republic. Even though Yoda would also still be very old during this time period, he'd be much younger in present day, a little more spry version of Yoda, like slightly less old Yoda. He would have also been serving as the Grand Master on the Jedi High Council for a long time at this period. So you have to imagine when they're going around talking about the mystery of all these Jedi being killed, they do have meetings inside the High Council's chambers. That's probably where we'll see Yoda. I think the idea is they just want to hide him in the trailers, like they want you to focus on all the brand new characters they're introducing during this. When she talks about evidence of a larger plan being at play, she's talking about the return of the Sith, like the rise of the Sith again, which eventually winds up happening during the prequels. As they show you a gathering of the Acolytes group, it'll be really interesting to see what they say happens to this group of Acolytes by the events of the prequels, because the only dark-leaning Force users we get into in the prequels are Darth Sidious and his Sith apprentices over the years. Even if you want to get into the idea of the Exegol planet, that's meant to be a planet of Sith Force users, so I don't know if they're connected to this group here. Then we finally get a shot of Dean Charles Chapman's Jedi Padawan character. Everybody will remember him as Tommen from Game of Thrones. Not totally sure what they're doing to him in this scene, but you see his eyes go black, so it just seems like they've captured him. They talk about this tip to shift the scales. Everybody wondering about this scene. It seems like May going to meet with some mystery character. Not totally clear who it is. In the last trailer, the way they cut the trailer, they wanted you to think that it was Palpatine. But based on when the series takes place, I don't think that it's him. And I don't think that it's meant to be Darth Plagueis either. It looks like a much more humanoid character, and I think it might be the Sith character with the red Sith lightsaber that they fight later in the trailer that's wearing the mask. So here's the thing, like this will be a big argument when the series is going on, like big mystery is it Darth Tenebris? Are they going to change who Darth Tenebris is? Because in previously established canon, Tenebris and Darth Plagueis are both completely different species.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
What they could do without trampling on pre-existing canon, though, is just fit in different apprentices that came and went, or different Sith masters that came and went before Tenebris came along. I think that's how they're working in the May character here, too. Like, they're kind of slotting her into the backstory of the canon, just based on how far this happens before the events of Phantom Menace, before Palpatine comes along. But I think the idea is that she's meant to be dead by the events of Phantom Menace. But it would be weird if they go through this entire series and she does not wind up becoming the next Sith apprentice at some point. Well, I think that's the whole idea. Like, that's what she's trying to do. One of her missions to become the next Sith apprentice is to go around killing all these Jedi. That's meant to be a test that the present Sith Master at this time, whoever it winds up being, gives to them to become the next Sith apprentice. Like if you successfully kill all these different Jedi, you earn a spot to become the next Sith apprentice. The May character talks to another Jedi, talking about facing the past, talking about her big reckoning. This is the Kill Bill aspect of the show that they're talking about. This character is called Mother Anastasia. It just seems like she's the leader of this group of acolytes, and she's trying to explain why their perspective is more correct than the Jedi. Like, the whole idea is that they're diametrically opposed to the Jedi's way. And it seems like her way of selling their point of view is the idea that they control their destiny, not the Force itself. They cobble together a bunch of different fight scenes from different parts of the timeline. Not totally sure what's going on in this fight scene, but it seems like May gets the drop on Daphne Keene's Jedi Padawan character. There's a lot of talk about her actually coming back during Deadpool and Wolverine as a variant of X-23 that's just a little bit older. Then we get a longer version of that lightsaber fight scene from the last big trailer with all the Jedi characters pulling their lightsabers and the Sith character pulling their Sith lightsaber. And I think the idea is that this is meant to be whoever the current Sith Master is. There were so many theories about who this actually was after the last big trailer, but the way they color the trailer, the lighting is just really janky. So if you zoom in and enhance, brighten the footage big time, notice the color of their arm here does not look like the color of May's arm. So it seems like a completely separate character. You also notice the way their mask is designed too. It looks like they have this really grim smile that goes across it too. But everyone post all your theories in the comments. Who do you think that this actual Sith Master is during the trailer? Or if it's not a Sith Master, then this current Sith apprentice. Like the trailer says, episodes start June 4th. It'll be a 2-episode start, and then weekly after that, it'll be 8 episodes total, like The Mandalorian or Ahsoka. It's not meant to be connected to The Mandalorian or Ahsoka Season 2 or anything like that. There might be some Easter eggs, but I think the closest connection will be characters that you see during the prequels. Like, they're leaning much more heavily on the prequels during this. If there's any big Easter eggs or references that you spotted during the trailer that I didn't talk about during this video or my last big Acolyte trailer video, write them in the comments below. But we'll probably get some more footage as we get a little bit closer to the actual release and learn a little bit more about the characters. That's usually something really big that they do when they introduce brand new series, and this is like one of the first series that they've done in a long time with completely new characters in a completely new time period. But I think this is meant to be the beginning. They're kind of testing the waters with them doing more High Republic era stuff because there's so much energy right now going into The Mandalorian and like the Grogu movie that they're doing right now, and then the Thrawn movie. So much happening in like the Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau part of the timeline. Generally, I don't mind them jumping around the timeline with different shows and movies, but I really would like for them to like focus on a specific time period and just dial into that for a while and then move to a different time period and deal with that with the movies and shows. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up this weekend, a bunch of CCXP trailers. We should get a new House of the Dragon Season 2 trailer this weekend, and we just got a new Boys Season 4 trailer video, so I'll do that next. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everybody click here and here for all those new trailer videos. It's going to be a big weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.